Good morning, y'all. Happy Friday. We made it through the week. This week passed by so fast, y'all. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I did. I decided that this week was going to be a good week when I woke up on Monday. So, you are what you think. So, I said that I was going to have a good week, and I did. So, hopefully, you guys do that too. Stay positive, and positive results will come out. So, today we are going to be talking to some sellers today. So, what I did, I wanted to find out this time of year, what are sellers thinking when it comes to selling their property? So, I wanted to discuss what to expect on the selling side at this time of the year, or just in general, what sellers should expect. If you have questions, um you can call into the station at 404-361-1570. And I'm also live on Facebook at Trisha the Realtor if you want to join on there as well. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking to the sellers, and we are going to talk about negotiations and the closing process. So I will say that if you are a seller, it's a little bit easier on the back end than it is for the buyer. Where most of the work comes in for the seller is in the beginning. So once you find your trusted advisor, of course, I'm always going to plug myself right up in there. Once you find that person and you guys start discussing, the market, so a knowledgeable realtor, real estate agent, we know the difference now. They are going to look at what homes in the area, what they sold for. So that's kind of like the first step, because you have an idea of what you think your house should sell for. But then our job is to let you know what other homes are selling for, because we could think our home is worth $1 million, but that doesn't mean that somebody's going to pay $1 million. So we want to have accurate numbers, meaning that we're going to look at homes that sold in the area that look similar to yours. So now they may not look exactly alike, but a lot of the times when these subdivisions are being built, a lot of them do have similarities. You may have did some upgrades on yours. You may have taken care of your home a little bit better. But overall, we want to look to see what similarities you have with the homes that sold, and if we can add some value to your home, if you did the kitchen over, or if you did certain things in the house, um, we want to look at all of that. So the first step is that, once you find your advisor, you would discuss what are you going to list a house for, because that's the important part to you. So we want to go over what we're going to list a house for, what you expect to make as a profit, once we discuss the reality of what it could really sell for. Because what we don't want to do is tell you that your house is worth more than what it really is. And the market will let you know if it's overpriced. So you definitely want to price correctly, especially in a market like today. Right now, there are homes that are sitting on the market a little bit longer than they were in the past. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it is. Sometimes if a house is overpriced, that's why it's not selling. So it's so important to price correctly, because what happens, let's say your home is worth 400,000, but you asked your agent, even after your agent told you no, let's go ahead and put at 400, you want it to be at 450, right? What happens is, after like 3 or 4 weeks, the house is sitting, and then a month later, you're bringing the price down. Yeah, people are going to look at your home, but they're also going to say, like, is something wrong with the home? That's why they put it down. It's just all type of thoughts that go through some buyers and other agents' head, like, you know why is it going down so much or drastically? I mean, and honestly, in this market, you see that a little bit more, but sometimes it is because it was priced wrong the first time. So the best thing to do is discuss with your agent, okay, what do you really think that I can get for my home realistically? Because you don't want to, like I said, overprice. So after you guys come up with an amount that you want to list your home for, you know about how much you're going to get in profit, you know about certain fees that we be taking out. Now, because of this new ruling for the National Association of Realtors, real sellers now have the right to decide if they want to pay the buyer's agent a commission or not. Now, speaking, I can talk for both sides because I have worked with both sides. If and I think I talked to you guys this about this before. And so if let's say, right, you have I'm a buyer's agent and you're my customer, and you saved money for a down payment, you saved your money for closing costs, you have your ducks in a row, but you're just like, that's it, you don't have any more than that. Now imagine the seller saying that they are not going to pay the buyer's agent. Now the buyer's agent is expecting you to pay this commission. So that puts you in a bind because you saved just enough, which you did the right thing, but you saved just enough. You don't have the money to pay your agent, right? This is what I try to let my sellers know, because sometimes you do have this situation where the buyer doesn't have the extra to pay you. And coming from a buyer's agent, we are going to need some kind of compensation because we don't get a check every 2 weeks like other people. So I see it on both sides. So now you can decide what you want to pay, but I do think it's fair to give something to the buyer's agent because the buyer's agent is bringing you a qualified buyer that is ready to buy your home. So you should pay them. So I would say, I would never say how much to give them. Um, it's in the past, it's been common to be 6%, but that is not something that you have to do. Okay, so keep that in mind if you're a seller. So we have a call coming in, so I'm gonna stop this thought for right now. And hello. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Hold on, caller. You hit the right button. There you go. Go ahead, caller. Good morning. Okay. I will say that sell by owner is the seller decided not to use an agent at all and decided to sell on them by themselves. And I will tell you that 8 times out of 10, a seller who sells the home themselves left money on the table because the agent is the one who knows the areas, knows how much things are selling for, knows how to negotiate for you. As a seller, sometimes you are thinking with your heart and not necessarily business minded. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, well, this is what I wanted for the house. This is it. But sometimes you're leaving money on the table, and this is a proven fact that you can actually research this, that a lot of times the sell by owner, they don't get as much money as they would have gotten if they used a real estate agent. And not because I'm a real estate agent, but this is just proven fact. Okay. Great answer. I just want to say to you, thank you so much for the wonderful information you bring to this airway every Friday. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It definitely is something that I wanted to do. It's something I actually didn't think about radio before. I was actually thinking about just, renting out a place and having people come to this place every week and we talk about different things of, real estate. So, but this is even better. I get to reach so many more people, and I'm glad it's, making effect on people And my goal is to bring more people in to kind of talk about different things that we don't always talk about or don't always know. Um, so that is what's, really important to me. But I appreciate that. So yeah, so now going back to the compensation part, it's something that we definitely have to talk about because it's something new, that in the past, I guess sellers didn't know that they had a choice. You do have a choice, but I'm just letting you know that if you want your house sold, that is something to think about. So we can make it work where that the compensation that you are paying, the buyer's agent is kind of rolled into what we're selling the house for. But that's digging way too deep. So, talk to your agent about that. If that's something that you are concerned about, um, that's something that can be addressed, but just think about that. So now, so let's say you already came up with the price that you want to sell it for. Some of the things that you can also do, I have a seller that I'm working with now. We're about to put his home on the market. We're actually going to get an appraisal done ahead of time. And why this is a good thing is because if you do an appraisal ahead of time, you kind of have a better idea on what you can really list for. Because in your head, you might think you can get this, but then the appraisal will bring you back to reality just a little bit as well. So you just have to be careful about doing an appraisal too early though, because if you don't have enough comps, enough homes that sold, it might hurt you. So definitely talk to a trusted advisor about that piece. But that's something that you can do as well. So, you could talk to your agent about it, but then actually getting an appraiser involved in it is a good idea as well. And your agent should have, some connections to get, to help you with that. So now the next thing I want to talk about is some things that you should think about right before you put it on the market. So I recently, maybe like about 3 weeks ago, went to see a house with a buyer. And when I say that house was ready to be sold, it was ready to be sold. So it was vacant, and that helps. Not to say that a house can't sell if somebody's living in it, but it definitely helps if it's vacant because sometimes the buyer can't see the vision of them living in there, because your stuff is in there. That's not always the case, but vacant is good, if you're able to do that, but not everybody's able to do that. But I do have some resources if you do want your house to be vacant and buy before you sell. I do have some resources on that, and that's a whole nother topic that I can get into. But the house that I'm speaking of, so the house was so ready to move in. So first of all, before we even walked in the house, the landscaping was done. It looked really nice when we walked in. So the curb appeal was really nice. And I told you a story before where um my clients pulled up to a house and they were like, "No, thank you." And they left. And we left and went to the next house because the curb appeal wasn't nice. So that curb appeal was beautiful. So that's something to think about. Then the driveway was cleared. And when we walked in, it smelled amazing. And the floors, you could tell that the carpet was brand new. The carpet looked amazing. So think about this. If you've been in your house for 20, 30 years, that carpet, could look different than when you got it, right? So if you have the ability, get your carpet done. Even if it's not brand new, get it cleaned. You know what I mean? So the carpet was cleaned. The windows were nice. They had a lot of windows, and it had so much natural sunlight. That was clean. When you went into the kitchen, they had information about the property. So these are things that you and your agent could discuss. Okay, what are some things that you've done to the house, and I can let the buyers know. So we had, they had a book of, things to look at in the house. When I say every part of the house was clean, it smelled good. I mean, my buyers were like, "Yes, I want to put an offer on this." And that's what you want when you're going to sell your house. Think about those things when you were a buyer, what you were looking at. You were looking at the floors, you were looking at the kitchen counters, you were looking at everything to make sure that it was clean, that you could see yourself in there. And not to say that if it's not clean, you don't want to move in, because you're probably going to want to clean again anyway. But there's certain things that you look for, to see if it's actually a good house for you to move in. So one of the things that I do a walkthrough with my client. Like, okay, we should take care of this, or we should take care of that, and you should start getting to know when things were done in your house. Or if you don't know, be prepared that if it's older, that they may want a home warranty. The buyer may want a home warranty. So big ticket items are your water heater, your HVAC, these different things you need to know. Even if you don't know how old they are, maybe have someone service it for you, so that you can know that it's in working condition. So no, I'm not going to give a home warranty because it's working. You know what I mean? So when we get back, I'm going to finish this thought. But think about that. If you are a seller, what are your high ticket items that you need to look through? And I'll be right back. All right, I am back. I just love that song. So yeah, so we're gonna start talking again about to my sellers. So yeah, so we talked about, well, before I do that, if you have any questions, we had a question earlier who called in, but if you do have one as well, the number to call in is 404 361 1570. 404 361 1570. So let's talk about negotiations. So let's say we have a buyer submit an offer. We like the offer, but the offer is asking for a lot of closing costs. They did offer what we wanted them to offer, as far as the 400,000 that we said that we wanted to sell it for, but they asked for a lot of closing costs. So this is the part where your agent, so me in this case, and the buyer's agent will basically start negotiations. So maybe you were willing to do closing costs, but you weren't willing to do as much as they were asking for, right? So we can actually do some negotiations, on the price. We could say, yeah, we want the price that you said, but we're not willing to give you $15,000. We're only willing to give you $5,000, or whatever that number is. So that's part of negotiations. So when negotiating at this time, even though we do have not as many people buying, you still have the right to negotiate, and there's still a bottom line, of course, that you want to get. And our job is to, and my job, would be to make sure that you get that bottom line number. Another part of negotiations is when we get past that first stage of, okay, the price is right, closing cost is right, everything is agreed upon. The buyer is more than likely going to do an inspection. In that inspection, there's things that may come up. That's why it's so important on the front end to kind of know what's going on with the house. So when the inspection comes back, it's not a surprise, like, oh, I didn't realize this, or I didn't realize that. It's a good idea to maybe talk with your agent, or if you already have, your own handyman, for them to go do a walkthrough of the house with you and see what things may need to be fixed, repaired, painted, whatever. You know what I mean? It might be a good idea to do that. So now, let's say you didn't do that. Now this report comes in, it says, I don't think this AC is working like it should. I don't think this water heater is working like it should. These big ticket items that people may walk out of the deal for, now you may either have to get it serviced or replaced. So that's part of negotiations as well, because maybe you had in your mind that, well, I didn't plan on fixing that. What do you do in those cases? So these are the options. If you don't want to do those things, you can either pay them out and say, oh, I don't want to fix it. Yeah, it's a problem. Here's $1,000 or however much money, right? Or you can say, you know what? It's not that it's broken, it's that it's old. So I'm just going to give you a home warranty. And for those of you who don't know what a home warranty is, the home warranty is a plan is kind of like an insurance plan, but it's not an actual, homeowner's insurance is separate than that. But the home warranty covers your big ticket items and appliances. So it covers your water heater, because it covers your HVAC, it covers some plumbing. Each plan, covers different things that, depending on the company that you choose. But some sellers will just pay a home warranty for a year because, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but within the first year of someone purchasing a home that is, you know, resold, right? Something something happens. It might be minor, it might be major. That within that first year, something's gonna happen. Um, so if you have the home warranty, it may cover those things. So that's something else that you can negotiate as opposed to getting this thing fixed. Oh, I'm just going to offer a home warranty. So you and your agent will discuss, okay, are you okay with giving them a home warranty? And then we can do that. So keep that in mind. Those are some things that can be negotiated. Pretty much a lot of things on the contract can be negotiated. Closing dates. We have some people that need to close um, to get the money, but they can't move until 3 days after. That can be negotiated. They have people who need to close, you know, later and need 30 days. I've had a situation where my client purchased their home, but they needed 30 days to move out. That can happen. So, pretty much everything on the contract can be negotiated. Now, once we do all of the front, remember I told you for the seller, the upfront is what takes the longest. So we want to make sure that it's priced correctly. We want to make sure that it looks good when people walk in. We want to make sure that we tell the neighbors that it's about to be sold, because sometimes you have neighbors that want a family member to live close by, and they know somebody that want to buy the property. I have clients who called me and say, I want this house, it's on my block. I wanted this house since we moved here, but it wasn't available. But now it is. We want to move into that house. It happens. So those are some upfront things that your agent can do to kind of help your house get sold faster. So all that stuff that's done in the on the front end, now the only thing that you're really doing on the back end is doing negotiations as things progress. You're looking at offers to see which one is the one that you want to pick. During COVID time, I mean, at that time I was really working with buyers, but during that time, sellers were looking at 20, 30 offers at one time, which to me was crazy. But that's pretty much, what's, after the beginning, after everything's all said and done, it's listed and all of that, you're waiting for offers to come in. Now, at this time, during this process, well, now just the way the market is now, homes are taking a little bit longer to sell, and not some of them are overpriced, but some of them it's just taking a little bit longer. It's just how the market is right now because there's not as many people buying. Now, the closing process for the seller side, once again, it's pretty much easy. Once the buyer gets their clear to close and their lender says, yeah, we're going to go ahead and give you this money to move forward, then once that happens, you come to the closing table, maybe have 3 sheets of paper to sign, if that, and you get your money wired to you. So it's a little bit easier on you selling your home than on the buying side. Because you remember all the steps that I told you on the buying side. The seller really just has to deal with, paperwork, making sure that the deed is in their name, there's no liens on the property. But that's not something that you're doing. The closing attorney will do that. So it's pretty easy for you once you get somebody under contract and the negotiations are over. I'm literally in a process right now with setting up a final inspection for a client that I'm going to close in a few weeks. And yeah, the seller doesn't have to do anything until we get to the closing table. So it's pretty easy. So before we end, we have just about 3 minutes. My direct number to call if you are looking to sell your property. My phone number is 678-849-4734. Or you can email me at Patricia, PATRICIA .REID at remax.net. If you have direct questions about selling your property, of course, if you're looking to buy, I can help with that as well. And then I am a certified probate specialist. I have resources for you if you're in that process, or before you get into that process. Definitely reach out. Same contact information for that as well. Um, Also, I need to start plugging in that we are hiring for new agents. So now that I'm the managing broker for Remax in East Point, we are looking for agents, whether you have experience or you do not. We are hiring both, and you will be working directly with me to help you grow your real estate career. So you could essentially be on this show with me. We can be doing great things in the community to kind of build awareness of how to become a homeowner. And so I have a lot of things planned, for our agents, and it's going to be fun. So if you are looking to start a real estate career, you can call me at 678-849-4734. So I'm going to have to end, but just for my sellers, if you are looking to sell, just think about your high ticket items, think about the negotiation process, think about what you're willing to pay the buyer's agent. Of course, you're going to pay your listing agent, but, think about those things. And once again, you already have my phone number if you need to contact me. So we're going to end, but have a happy Friday. Have a great weekend and have a great week on purpose. Bye, y'all.